Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this opening ceremony of our investment contest, Switzerland for Financial Literacy. My name is Tonia Zimmermann. I'm co-founder of You Mushroom. You might already know my background. I've been working for almost 25 years in the financial industry, and I'm really happy to share my know-how over the coming weeks with you.
Good evening also from my side. I'm Luba Schoenig. I'm the other co-founder of the company, and I'm really looking forward to welcome you on our platform. I have also a very similar background like Tonia, studied economics and spent more than 20 years in banking. Not going to bore you with that. LinkedIn is it for it. And yes, welcome. So I would gladly shed some words why we do what we are doing. And for us, financial literacy is a big topic. We figured out that people actually don't like to invest. They don't know how to invest. It's not taught at schools and universities. And there is a huge barrier when it comes to the topic of how to start investing. And we decided to start a contest with the mission to inspire everyone to take the responsibility for her or his financial wealth. And let's not forget, there is not only the physical wealth, there is not only the mental and emotional wealth, but there is also the financial wealth, which we should take care of. And we're very happy to take you on this journey with a lot of fun, but also with a lot of learning.
And we're also very lucky that we are not only us is taking you on this journey. We have a fantastic jury and backing with us, but we will come to introducing you in more detail and also the companies you're representing any minute. First, I would also like to share some words about how it works to be part of this contest. And actually, it's very simple. You just have to be over 18 years old and domiciled in Switzerland. In case you're not yet 18 years, then you just have to convince one of your parents to register and submit a portfolio. One very important thing to mention is the contest is free, so it doesn't cost anything to join. And the portfolios you're submitting, it's not real money. So it's paper money. We are doing the contest with fictive portfolios, which can be set up on You Mushroom. Then, of course, we want to encourage you to start the participation very soon after this opening we are doing right now, because the sooner you participate, the easier it is or the better your chances are to really get into the group of the finalists. Because the longer you have the possibility to invest, the more you have also options to choose your investments. But then also during the contest, we will distribute learning activities. And these activities, the sooner you basically consume them, the more points you get. So at the end of the contest, we will evaluate how many points you have received through your performance of the portfolio and how many points you have achieved by consuming the learning activities. And by the way, the learning activities, they are actually very easy to consume. It's usually a video of roughly 3 to 5 minutes, which you can consume, for example, during your commute. So as I said, at the end of the contest, we will evaluate who has the most points, and then there are amazing prizes to win.
There are 20 prizes which are awaiting you, 3 main prizes. And what is very important is that actually you're going to get these prizes for if you have a good performance, but also if you do your activities and if you complete the respective learning nuggets. Now, before we go into the detail with the prizes, we are very, very happy to finally have the honor to also introduce our jury. And I would like to start with Florence. Florence Schnydrig is a member, executive board and head of private banking of Bank ZKB, Zürcher Kantonalbank. Florence, you have an amazing career in banking and look back to a lot of experience and a lot of know-how. And we are very happy and thankful to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Would you like to tell us some few words about yourself and also to share some few words about the prize that ZKB is supporting?
Sure. So as you said, I have been in banking all my professional career. I started right after my studies, so also lots of exciting years, especially the ones in the global banks that we worked together and we got to know each other. A lot of exciting times, a lot of learning experiences. I remember very well when I started in derivatives and I did some investments in warrants that were maybe not exactly the best ones to choose. So I've learned it my way as well. Everyone needs to learn. I think it's very important, and that's what we do now in my current role as well. We try to educate a lot of people to help them understand. So I enjoy helping people to understand finance better, and that's part of my job now. ZKB has a very big private banking, private clientele entity, and we would like to join this competition also to help focus on the quality of investments, on learning about investments, and obviously also take care of it yourself. So I think that's important, what your mission is. And our prize will be a starting point for a real investment, not a fictive investment. We will start with 10,000 in a ZKB fund account. That will be our prize.
Amazing.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Ciril, you're basically here, or you're jumping in for Enzo, who is on holidays. Lucky him.
Yeah, lucky him, yeah.
You are representing Swissquote, and may I also ask you to say a few words about you, and maybe also Enzo, given he will be part of the jury, and also about your prize.
Yeah, sure. Thanks to be here, also be part of this contest. I guess it's very important to bring the financial education closer to the people. And I guess this is also what Swissquote stands for, really also giving people a platform to really do the financial decisions by themselves. I'm working for Swissquote since today. I have my 17 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, started my career at the Credit Suisse, almost 23 years now, and I had different roles in Swissquote. I was mainly in the customer care, supporting clients by all the trading features we are offering. And since 4 years now, I'm more for the onboarding part, responsible, meaning we are really trying to onboard new clients and also help them to bring our offering closer. And the prize, we are sponsoring the European League, and our prize will be a trip, 2 tickets for the Dublin, the Europa League final. So with hotel, trip, everything included.
Cool, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we also have Professor Thorsten Hens, who is Professor for Financial Economics at the University of Zurich and also adjunct professor at the University of Lucerne and the Economics School in Bergen. Welcome, Thorsten.
Welcome. So my role here is to look a little bit into whether the portfolios are well justified, not only picking here, picking there, and eventually getting some returns, but the idea is that you should start with an objective. What do you want to achieve with the portfolio? Do you want to have a high return? What about the risk? There's typically a trade-off. You cannot have both. Is the return the cash flow which you generate from it, or is it the capital which will increase? So this is important aspects. And then how will you manage your risk? Will you diversify, or will you try to protect, for example, with derivatives? And then we'll look into how you would manage the portfolio, the typical steps. You might decide on a strategic asset allocation, how to split the portfolio in the long run. You might look how to adjust it over time, so-called technical asset allocation. And finally, we look into the implementation. So this is what you think you have to do to pick stocks and products and this and that. But in my logic, that's the very last step. You first have to think about the other things so that eventually the portfolio makes sense and it's not just a random collection of equity.
Thank you very much. And what's very important also is mainly that it's well documented, right? As you mentioned to us, when you create a portfolio, that you document all the steps, and that's what you're going to look at.
Good to think about this first and not generate a portfolio and find a reason afterwards. Huh? So try to think about at first what you want to achieve with the portfolio.
Correct. It's nice. Great. Thank you so much.
So we were also talking about our first investments, and many of us share also the employer Credit Suisse. And for example, my first investment was also in warrants as yours on the name of Credit Suisse. So back then it was a good investment, but I also had many bad investments. So when you think back, what were your first investments, or what is still in your memories? But maybe a good example, maybe a less good example.
If maybe I started, my best and still best performing stock I have is Swissquote.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. And even though I bought it, I just got it from the company. And my worst investments were, I also tried some a bit trading knockout warrants, but yeah, I was not so successful so far.
Maybe. Some one day.
Yeah, some one day, yeah.
I mentioned warrants were at the beginning because I started working in the derivatives business. I had to do it myself. So you learn the hard way when you have some that are booked out at zero and you don't really know about time value and all these factors. So you can be right on your view on the stock, but actually choose the wrong instrument, right? So that was a good learning experience. Now, over the years, I had a lot of Credit Suisse shares that also didn't perform very well, sadly. So I gave up deciding myself, actually, and I let the bank decide for myself. So I have discretionary mandates for years now that perform very well, that are very well diversified, and some funds. So that's going well. It's not extraordinary returns like 5 times, but it's stable and good, and it provides returns over the years that are combating, helping against inflation. And that's the
Very
big purpose.
point.
Well, I started off in 81 when I became student, and I did buy some index product with a strong home bias on the German market. And then I did some reversal strategy on this. So whenever the German market was going up, I was selling. When it was going down, I was buying. So I did some reversal strategy. Over time, I learned more. I eventually bought single stocks and combined it with derivatives and complicated things, but it never went better. So the first idea, in a sense, was one of my best ideas to have a reversal strategy on indices. Maybe because of my education, I'm educated as a professor in macroeconomics and not in business economics. On business economics, you understand the companies, and macroeconomics, you understand interest rates and GDP and those things. So that's my style
Of investing.
in investing, yes.
Including. Mine was also, my first investment was actually options on UBS, just before the merge back then in 1998 was approved. Was such a lucky bunch. We knew exactly 3 stocks, and that's what we did during studies. But of course, I also had a lot of fun experience with derivatives, which went wrong, and currently very happily investing in GTFs and stocks. Stock picking, core satellite, a good old story.
But what is very interesting listening to you is that for all of us, it was kind of a learning doing investments. And we all had maybe experience where we didn't went that well. And in some occasions, we really were lucky or we were expecting a good return. So, and I just want to encourage you, that the listeners and the participants of the contest, I mean, take the chance and learn from all these experts we're having here at the table. You will get so much know-how about investing, and we can help also to get or to help you also really choosing these first investments, and hopefully you don't have to learn it the hard way as we had to, what happened to us at some time.
It's true. And having said that, also know that we are talking about paper portfolios. Those are not real money portfolios with which you're participating. And you have the opportunity to practice in a very close to market and yet very safe environment. And it's important, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's good to make mistakes on paper and also to profit from the knowledge. And it leads us actually to a question. We've been wondering, what is your view? What do you think? How does Switzerland currently invest? And how has that changed over the past couple of years? It's a very interesting dynamic out there.
I mean, what I see in terms of trader products, so what we see is really, I would say, a lot of people are interested in ETFs. I guess it's very popular. It's getting more and more popular compared to the 2 years ago. So I would say really ETF is very used, especially from the younger generation, from what I see. I don't know if you share that.
What we see is, I mean, you already say, how do they invest? But the step before investing is actually they hold cash. And that is one thing still too often the case in Switzerland, that people hold a lot of cash. And that's our main struggle, is to tell them that actually that doesn't help you against inflation. Holding cash is a risk, and you don't over time actually have a value that stays, but a value that decreases. And that's what we see. Then once they do invest, I think Swiss in general are quite defensive. We are a country of people who are overinsured. We want to be safe, and we are prudent. So we see often people are very prudent in investing, and maybe at least in our bank, it's not your clientele. They are well diversified and very prudent. And they, in our case, in majority have a strong home bias. They love the Swiss stocks, they love the Swiss franc. That is probably in many countries. You mentioned home bias as well in Germany, and it's often the case, but we really notice that is something that continues. What has changed, you also asked, is obviously there's more focus on ESG, on sustainability. People are asking more about that. And there is certainly a bit more international, because people are thinking about Tesla stocks, and they're thinking about Apple. They've seen it going very well. So there is a bit more international than there used to be. That's certainly a change, but still strong home bias.
You mentioned something super interesting, and thank you for this, for the answers. People are invested in cash, and we keep telling over and over again that you cannot be not invested, that even a position in cash is actually an investment. And as you mentioned, you bear the interest rate risk. You also bear basically the inflation risk. You bear the credit risk, something which we happened to get familiar once again almost a year ago when Credit Suisse was taken over by UBS. And also, not to forget, of course, the interest rate which you have on your saving obviously does not compensate you, as you mentioned, anywhere close to for the inflation.
So my students, if I can report from them, were crazy for cryptos for some time.
I was wondering that you didn't mention the cryptos.
But now they're out of fashion. So when I now go to my class and ask who has Bitcoin, who has Ethereum, they don't say this. No, that has become out of fashion. I guess they are already in the metaverse of Zuckerberg and buy some plot of land.
Tech stocks on AI, maybe?
AI and NVIDIA, that's one of the star stocks which the students would tell you, right? But cryptos are
out of fashion.
If by students, maybe in a different generation, it's still on vogue, but.
But this confirms what we are observing as well, is that, for example, 2 years ago, everybody was screaming for cryptocurrencies. Right. And then, but many of the crypto investors, especially the younger ones, they actually transferred into the ETF world and getting into the traditional asset classes and instruments.
I guess also in terms of cryptocurrency, what we have seen is just during the crypto winter, no one was interested. Now the price is getting up and the people start buying again the crypto.
They're following like sheep. Huh?
Exactly.
This is another topic which we get to deal a lot with, and this is the market timing. Yeah. And crypto is a new asset class, right? It's very difficult to do the general conclusions when it comes to the traditional asset classes. But one thing we keep telling our users is that it's very difficult if you really particularly focus on market timing. It's almost impossible to reach it. If you look at how many people invested in 2009, right, when it was the all-time low? Pretty much no one. So it's good to have a strategy and to keep being investing on a regular basis, with so that you don't get caught into this fear of missing out, as you call it.
Time in the market and not time in the market.
Absolutely, absolutely. That time in the market beats
timing.
Market timing.
Thorsten, you're working at university. So what does it mean for you, financial literacy?
So that's what we try to give to our students, but of course on a much too abstract level. So I think that should start much earlier in in school. They should understand what are equity, what are bonds, and what are derivatives. And when we start, it's a very artificial level because we do data analysis and this and that. So there's a foundation missing before they come to the university. The good news is, I should mention that I innovated a program at the University of Zurich, this portfolio management program, where the students can trade with real money. So there we have 2 years. First year, they learn this academic foundations, and the second year they get a portfolio. And this was very useful to most students. Typically they come, they're very overconfident, they think they can beat the market and all these things, and after the 2 years they're a little small. That's very useful, and I innovated here at the University of Zurich. The university didn't like it at the beginning, but now they're happy that we do this. But it's only 15 students per year, so, and we have 28,000, and they all need to invest somehow.
Florence, you mentioned financial literacy is very dear to your heart. What is for you financial literacy?
So we already, as a bank, because we belong to the population of Zurich, we have a responsibility. So by definition, we are there to provide financial services to everyone, give access to everyone, and also help them to deal with it. So financial literacy, in a way, is our purpose. What it means for me is it starts before what you said. It already starts with knowing the value of things, knowing the worth, knowing what you budget, what you have as income, what you need to spend. Even it starts there, and then with savings, the importance of savings, to know what to do with it. But I don't jump straight to know what instruments. I actually think not everyone needs to know all the instruments. If you're interested, it's fantastic, but you don't have to spend all your time choosing the right stocks. What is key, though, is to understand the strategy that you want to have and your structural setup, your financial structure, your financial plan. And I think that's incredible how little people spend time on that, to think about what do I want to achieve. You said as well, to the contest, you need to have an objective, right? And for me, an objective is not a financial objective. It is, what do I want to achieve in life? Do I want to retire early? Do I want to go on a big holiday? Do I want to afford my kids' university that's in the US and very expensive? What do I want to have my own flat at 30? Do I want to, buy a yacht at 50, whatever, or a big car? You have to have an objective in life, and those objectives always need money. Whatever your dreams always need money. And I think it's very important to realize, what is my dream and how do I get there? And what is the financial setting, the structure that I need to get there? And that I find striking, because there is only one way to get there in general, is to invest. Yes. Yet people stay in cash, and they have all these dreams to retire and to buy things and to do trips, but they still have a lot of cash. I'm like, how can you achieve your lifelong dreams if you don't invest? The young people in Switzerland currently are totally not even in the third pillar a lot, which would be the first step, to be in the third pillar as a small sum. But the second step is, if they are in it, it's even most of them are not invested. And I think that is such a shame. And that's what financial literacy for me is. You understand the consequences of your financial decisions.
And as you say, you understand the consequences. There is this very famous quote, apparently Einstein said it, that the compounding effect is the eighth wonder, world wonder, and those who understand it, they earn it, and those who don't, they pay it. And I think that's exactly
it.
What you're referring to. Yes, Mary.
Yeah, I can completely agree with you, what you're saying. I mean, first of all, you need to have goals, but then you need to have a strategy to achieve that. And most of the people are really not thinking about the possibilities they can have if they invest. I mean, we all know that, but what I see a bit is the change, because maybe back in the old days we had some interests, and now we had almost 10 years no interest. Now it's getting a bit back. But what I see is that people, especially young people, are a bit more trying to find other ways to really at least protect against inflation. So this is what I see, that we have a lot of young people really interested into investing, at least start with a small portfolio, just to try to reach their goals. Yeah.
So it's very interesting, and we share that as well, that part of financial literacy is having this objective, this plan, and also plan. So if this is still a bit blurry to you or difficult, then we encourage you to visit our calculator, or we have a quiz on the investment section on the platform, and there you can fill out this calculator, and it really helps you to define a very simple strategy which is linked to your objectives, and then also choose the first investments. In respect to the contest, we encourage you to submit your portfolio after this opening ceremony, because as mentioned, the longer you participate, the better the chances that you're one of the big winners. And of course, take the chance and profit from here at the table throughout the coming weeks. And I think it should be fun, no?
It definitely should be fun. It shouldn't be something which you're scared of. And we know that finance is hidden behind a very complex jargon, right? It's like almost you're learning a new language. But that's what exactly we're trying to do. We're trying to demystify and explain in an easy and intuitive way what exactly is it, this absolute mysterium investing. And we would also like to encourage you to share with your friends, hop on a journey together with us. It's easier to build a new habit, the habit of investing, if you're part of a community, as opposed to doing it by your own. And in any case, if you have any questions, you can always reach us at hello@mushroom.com. And having said that, you maybe would like to do one last round for one last wish or words to our participants from the jury.
Start now. Don't push it out. It's always the most important is to get started. That's the biggest hurdle. Start educating yourself about it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every one of us, as you heard in the beginning, did some mistakes. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just do it and learn from the mistakes.
And the good thing is you can do mistakes without losing money. So that's the unique thing. I lost a lot of money at the beginning. So it's very good that you can trade here in realistic situations, but still you don't lose money.
Another thing to mention in respect to support we are providing, so every other week we are having a Q&A call. So the first one is next Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and then it will be done every 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, then just dial in and ask them, and we are very happy to help you. And in case there are any questions from the audience right now, I think we have some minutes to answer them.
So the first question is, how can they win the jury prizes?
How we can win the jury prize. So I start with how we can give our prize. The ZKB, Zürcher Kantonalbank prize, will be based on, one part is your learning nuggets, right? The educational path, the journey you're taking. And the other part is the quality of the portfolio. And we judge the quality of the portfolio by judging the diversification of the portfolio. How good is the performance achieved? How well is it achieved? And how well are the instruments chosen? So how much effort did you put into the instruments? Did you diversify well? And do you have any single risks, and so on? That's what we will look at for ZKB to give the prize.
Yeah, for us, it's mostly the performance interesting. We are looking to the performance which you being able to achieve, and yeah.
So in my case, the performance is a very random thing. The markets jump up and down, so focus more on your plan, on your strategy. So how will you try when you have good luck, bad luck? That's not so important, but make a consistent plan.
And maybe what is also worth mentioning once again, very prominently mentioned by us, you're going to have to collect coins, your mushroom coins. How do you collect them? Through performance. Performance makes 50% of your coins. That's 50% weighting. And the other 50% come from you actually finishing the activities, the different milestones, and do them on time, because that also gives you value. So at the end of the contest, what we're going to do is we're going to compute the mushroom coins, 50% performance, 50% accomplished learning, and you're going to get a score which is expressed in mushroom coins, and the first 20 are going to be eligible for those 3 fantastic prizes. And one will be focused in the case of Swissquote on the trading results. In the case of ZKB with Florence, that's going to be more diversified, more into investing. And in the case of Thorsten, it's going to be looked at. Thorsten is going to look at how well do you document what you're doing? How well do you? We keep joking. We say that's kind of the nerdy element of the price. Can I say that, Thorsten? I'm also a nerd, so it's and. So these are the 3 parameters for you, but the basis are the mushroom coins, and it's very objective. You're going to be able to track it basically every day because we're going to provide a ranking.
Maybe one addition to all these 20 finalists, Luba was mentioning a prize is waiting, but out of these 20, there are 3 getting the really big, nice prizes.
And the biggest learning is that you're going to have a new habit, and that habit is that you're going to start investing. And that will pay out in 20 years, in 10 years, or even shorter.
Okay. The next question is for Mr. Thorsten. He said to have a goal when putting together a portfolio. There could be short-term goals and long-term goals. Since the contest is only for a short term, should they focus on the short term or should they focus on the long-term goal?
They should focus more on the long-term goal. In the short term, it's very random. But if they make a long-term plan, I won't judge the performance. That's your job. I judge the consistency of what they're doing with the long-term goal.
The next one is for Mrs. Florence.
Just to give an example, if they say they want to save for, I don't know, let's say founding a company in 10 years, it won't make sense to do this with cash or with bonds, right? And they should have some equity because after the horizon of 10 years, most likely you have the highest return with equity. The investment horizon, the implementation.
It basically has to be in sync. The objective and the implementation has to be in sync. Yeah.
The next question is from Mrs. Florence. How can they protect their portfolios against inflation?
Well, the best protection against inflation is to invest, because if you invest into equities, the returns on average over time are higher than inflation, and depending on the bonds you choose as well. So the only real protection, of course, there are some structured products and there are some complex investment opportunities that are straight linked to inflation, but I think that's not the point here. The main objective is to invest in the long run. Thank you.
Maybe some numbers for those of you who are listening. Historically, the Swiss market, the broad Swiss market over the past 100 years performed on average between 8 and 10%. There is a very interesting study conducted, various studies actually to this topic, and even the performance on average net of inflation is around 7.5. Mm-hmm. So to your point, absolutely, this is the best way to protect yourself long term.
This is an open question. How should you invest in the third pillar and manage a portfolio independently at the same time? Do you necessarily have to diversify again differently than in the third pillar?
It's a different objective, right? The third pillar is the money that you block for as long as you want, but at least until retirement or most often, and it's linked to rules and you have a tax deduction component, but then once the money is in there, you can't use it. It's not very liquid, only for specific conditions you can use it. And there you invest by using a product. All banks offer it. Any bank you can go to has a third pillar product, and you have different settings of risk and return, and you just choose that. But on the free amount of liquid money that you can invest, you go and you choose what we're doing here, right? You do a fictive portfolio or you do a real portfolio after the competition, and that will be a liquid portfolio that you can access at any point in time. That's the main difference between third pillar and free. I don't know if that answered the question, actually. Maybe you want to add something, Tonia?
I think you brought it to the point, yeah.
Okay. Building up a portfolio, what is the trading price of the underlying? Is it always the closing price? Example for equities, ETFs, etc.
Mm-hmm. Usually all the prices we are having on the platform are closing prices. So for equities, funds, and ETFs, we are also considering the closing prices. It's different for cryptocurrencies. There we have intraday prices.
For the jury prize, it is therefore important to add plenty of comments in the what's on your mind section on the portfolio.
As a general rule, the better documented what you're doing and the steps, obviously that is going to be a value add for when choosing you among the winners. And what we also recommend out of experience, it's very good to journal, because then you learn from your considerations, you learn from mistakes, and you also learn from what you can do better, and also what you did. Yes, big plus, journal.
So far, these are all the questions. We'll wait to see some more come, but feel free.
I mean, anyway, also after this ceremony, you have the chance to write us anytime to hello@yourmushroom.com, or as mentioned before, we are having our Q&A sessions, and we are very happy to welcome you there as well. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it, yeah.
The contest starts. It will be on until the 24th of April, and then we will gather all the figures and also discuss with the jury who are the 3 main winners, and then we will have kind of a closing ceremony or the event where we give out the prizes. This will be at the beginning of May, but we will keep you posted on that, and very much looking forward to being with you over the coming weeks.
And we also wish you a lot of luck, and we hope that you enjoy this journey, and we hope that you really do investing the new habit. Thank you very much.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you kindly for the contribution.